It's been a long time coming, but it's here now, the ICM Beaufort in 1/48 scale. Was it worth the wait? Find out right here on Gary's Stuff. Hi, I'm Gary. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you've been here before. So today is indeed box opening day on the kit of the week, which is the Bristol Beaufort in 1/48 scale from ICM. I've been waiting for it for ages. I know a lot of you have as well. I'll be having a look inside the box, outside the box, and everything to do with the box and all the parts to see what you get for your money. I'll be having a look also at what else is available if you've got a real hankering for building a Beaufort. All of this stuff comes as chapters, of course. You can hop backwards and forwards as your heart desires. If you like the video, and I hope you do, please remember Imperial thumbs up on the button below. And if you haven't, where have you been? Subscribe to the channel, please, by clicking on the small logo down there in the bottom right. Hit the bell, you'll get notifications of future videos as they turn up. And of course, you can always support the channel in a more concrete way through super thanks or through one of my partner programs. But first of all, I'm going to have a look at why people are so excited about a kit of the Bristol Beaufort. The prototype of the Bristol Beaufort flew on the 15th of October 1938. It was designed to an urgent RAF specification for a new torpedo bomber to replace aircraft such as the obsolete Vickers Wildebeest. Following the correction of some design issues, including these apron-type undercarriage doors, the Beaufort entered service with 22 Squadron RAF in January 1940. The Beaufort was flown by a crew of 4 in reasonably snug conditions in order to carry an 18-inch torpedo or a bomb load of up to 2,000 pounds. It would have been far from comfortable. Torpedo drops were made from an average height of just 20 metres above the water with no radio altimeter. It was all done by judgment. The low-level marine environment was brutal. As the state of this Beaufort shows, it was flown just after this photo was taken despite the chunk already missing from one propeller. On the 6th of April 1941, 22 Squadron RAF was ordered to attack the German battleship Gneisenau in Brest Harbour in France. Amidst the confusion of bad weather, an aircraft flown by Flying Officer Kenneth Campbell managed to drop its torpedo on target, causing damage that took 6 months to repair. Sadly, Campbell and his crew were killed trying to escape the scene, Campbell posthumously being awarded the Victoria Cross. Beaufort operations moved to the Mediterranean and the Far East, where they were considerably more at home. Beauforts were instrumental in choking the sea supply lines of Rommel's Africa Corps and were a major force in patrolling the waters and attacking shipping in the southwest Pacific. In total, 1,180 Beauforts were made in the UK and a further 700 in Australia, equipping 11 Royal Air Force and 17 Royal Australian Air Force squadrons. The type was gradually retired from 1944, mainly replaced by torpedo-carrying Bristol Beaufighters. 5 complete airframes are preserved, including this one at the RAF Museum at Hendon, near London, and I hear rumours that one in Australia is being restored to airworthiness. So this is the box, pretty big, as you can see on the front. Bristol Beaufort Mark I. This is model kit number 48310 in ICM's range. World War II torpedo bomber, as it is indeed, and it's in 1/48 scale. ICM are very proud to point out that these kits are made in Ukraine. The box art, very evocative of a Beaufort on an attack run during the war. On the side here we have a brief history of the Beaufort, why the Beaufort was created. A description of the kit, 217 parts it says, which is quite a lot. They say it's for ages 14 plus. There are a lot of very, very small pieces in here, so that's probably a smart idea. Unless, of course, your 14-year-old is a really good modeller, which of course some of them are. And on this side are the 5 schemes that you get the decals for in the kit. Well, this is quite a big box and it only just fits on my background paper, so if you see anything on the edges that you shouldn't, please forgive me. Okay, the box, as normal with ICM kits, the lid comes off and then the box opens like this. Inside we have the usual things, a huge bag full of lots and lots and lots of plastic that we need to go through, and of course the instruction sheet, beautifully full colour on the outside at least, and inside we have all the transfers, decals, call them what you will, for all the various versions available. We'll have a look at those in a bit more detail in a moment. Sprue A are the 2 fuselage halves, and you can see some detailing of the ribbing on the inside there, inside of the tail as well, because you'll be able to see that with the tail wheel. Sprues B1 and B2 are the upper and lower wing sections respectively. There doesn't seem to be much detail inside the wheel well, or there, maybe you just can't see it anyway when it's upside down, I don't know. That's a nice touch, some detailing here for part of the flat mechanism. Sprue C has the rudder, flaps inside of the wings, engine covers, various bits and pieces on the interior. That's the instrument panel there. All of these parts of the flaps have been really nicely modelled as well, so that's quite cool. Sprue D has the elevators and tailplane assemblies, I guess, bits and pieces of the engine, covers, more instruments up here, the torpedo rack, bomb bay doors, engine covers, and more bits and pieces of the interior here, tail wheel as well. There are 2 Sprue Ds. These have main wheels, propeller, undercarriage sections, various other bits and pieces, and parts of the engine which have fallen off, so I hope I've got all of them. Sprue F, frame F, is for the upper gun turret, the gun mountings, fairings and so on. And finishing off the grey plastic is the torpedo with its trailer, its carrying trolley, and bits and pieces as well of the aerial launch torpedo, the big fin that goes on the back when you drop it. And finally Sprue G, which is all the transparencies, nose transparencies, pilot's cabin, the underside of the nose, and gun turrets and so on, chin turret, and various other bits and pieces. And the instruction booklet, very attractive, with a sort of replay of the cover art up there. The paint callouts are very nice. ICM's own numbers, Revel and Tamiya callouts as well. It makes it relatively easy to pick up other brands if you want to use them. Quick sort of summary of the aircraft. I think it's pretty much what's on the side, and basic information about it there. Very nice. Inside we have the maps of all the parts, not numbered however, which would have been, or are they? I do beg your pardon, there's tiny little numbers. There you go. Everything's numbered, so if you're looking for something you can see it on there. If you need to highlight something you can. That's actually good, sorry. I do apologise, ICM. The red bits here are of course bits that you don't actually use for this particular mark of the aircraft. And then, as usual, some fairly straightforward looking instructions. One thing I do like actually is, we'll look at it a bit more here, but you know, they've got the cutout for the wing here, and then you've got a fillet here to keep the all the detail going, which is lovely. Just simple mono instructions, not shaded unless they're sort of options that they're pointing out. Just some everything in reddish, just part numbers and things like that, and colour callouts. The engine looks quite complex, but it looks lovely. There's a lot to do, but it does look lovely. The torpedo at the end as well, of course. Mask templates, if you want to make your own masks. I'm not entirely sure how these are supposed to work, but as I haven't got a mask set for them because I can't find any yet, I might have to rely on a basic one like this. I don't know. We'll see how we go. And then the schemes. There are 5 schemes provided here. Interestingly, that just says L4449. Maybe that's an early one. I don't know. Presumably late to 1939. No idea. Then an aircraft from 22 Squadron, OAH, quite famous aircraft. And actually, a lot of them for 22 Squadron. This one here, 22 Squadron, in December 1940. This was when they're at Santival, which I think is in Cornwall. X-ray. And then a night version, 217 Squadron, the night camouflage with the black on here and the marine, is it temperate marine colours, extra dark sea grey and dark slate, I believe it was. So there you go, 5 different schemes. Nice set of instructions. I've used them in the past. They have been actually quite good to work with, so looking good. The plastic appears very sharply moulded. The panel lines are on the medium size. I mean, they're not as deep as, say, on an FX Spitfire at 1/48th, but they're not almost invisible either, so I think they'll be okay for detailing up later on. You do see over these bigger pieces, you can see these sort of patterns in the plastic, the flow lines of the plastic. You don't tend to see those on the surface. They're not surface details. It's like a compositional thing as it goes through and it passes through different heat zones in the mould. Maybe I'll do a little video on that one day about the sort of the dynamics of moulding and stuff like that. Anyway, as I say, nice and sharp, no flash that I can see at all. So yeah, very happy with it. On the smaller parts again, they seem very good. The controls here are well, but they're quite raised up. So I'm hoping that if they've got decals for these, then that they'll sit okay, because there's quite a lot of relief on there. I think these are for lights, so I don't know whether we've got any transparencies to sit on top of those or not. Some of the surfaces, the fin and the elevators and the ailerons, are fabric covered, and you can see the scalloping's quite good. I mean, we've got quite a strong side light there, so it will emphasise it quite a lot. But it's looking good. It's looking good. These big old rings of cooling fins, nicely done. Yeah, it looks okay. It looks all very good. I'm looking forward to making this. Now, the more I look at it, the more I'm thinking, do you know what, this will probably go together quite nicely. Yeah, it's not like dripping with detail, but then maybe they weren't actually. These levers, throttle levers and whatever are there, all these over there. That's looking quite cool. If we look now at some of the really fine detail parts, like these Lewis guns, they look pretty good. Again, there's no visible flash at all that I can see. The undercarriage legs look crisp, sharp, which is going to be important because the undercarriage is very complicated on this little thing. More gear parts down there. The fact I have to say more gear parts tells you the undercarriage is quite complex. But you know what, all the bits and pieces look very good, very well moulded, very well formed, nice and sharp, and as I say, with no discernible flash on any of these parts. The decal sheet supplied covers the 5 schemes suggested in the instructions. The decals are reasonably sharp and in good register, although my experience with ICM decals in the past suggests they may be lacking a little colour density and are not quite up to the highest standards of, let's say, cartograph, but they are plenty good enough. However, I decided to be different and got an aftermarket set from Extra Decal. These are pin sharp and have excellent colour, fidelity and depth. I've elected to do this scheme of an aircraft from No. 2 Torpedo Training Unit at RAF Castle Kennedy. I love the maritime white and extra dark sea grey, and it will give me an opportunity for some weathering. The downside is that this aircraft was fitted with the ASV Mark II Sea Search radar antennas. These will have to be scratch built, but hey, that's just part of the fun. So there it is, a good looking kit, but let's see what, if anything, the competition has to offer. The Beaufort has been relatively poorly served by the model making industry. Until this release from ICM in 2022, the only previous kit in 1/48 scale was the Sanger vac form kit of the early 2000s, although this box does say it was formerly a Contrail kit. There was a 1/32 scale kit made by ID Models that was then relaunched by Tigger Models in 2013, again in vac form plastic with metal details. For variety, you need to look at 1/72 scale. Of course, the recent Airfix new tool is very good. I've built one for this channel already and I can recommend it without reservation. Special Hobby made a new toolkit of the Beaufort Mark I in 2004, following it up with a Mark II in 2005 and an Australian Mark VIII in 2006, and you can still find these on second-hand and auction sites. One company that definitely loves a Beaufort is High Plains Models, who have produced a range of Beaufort versions in 1/72 scale since 1995, including the unusual and very rare Beaufreighter conversion. They also do conversion sets to adapt Airfix kits to the Australian versions. Of course, Frog has also made a Beaufort. It was tooled in 1963 and has had many outings since, including under the Novo and the UPC brands. Finally, going smaller still, are the Peters Planes kits in 1/144 scale, tooled in 2012. So there we go. Looking at the box, I think it's worth the wait. I'll see when I start building this thing, of course, which is coming up next. If you want to see future videos and as soon as they're released, please do remember, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and then you'll get notifications. And if you like the videos, please always give it a thumbs up on the little button below. Remember, these things cost you nothing, they help me enormously. Come back for the build of the Bristol Beaufort, and I will hopefully see you next time. Take very good care. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.